Hey everybody, it is Umber Rays here today, kind of coming at you live, but also recording this video for later. Multitasking. This is an Umber Rant video, and I don't even know if I'm going to list this as a hear me out thing, but let's go with the hear me out for it. I want to talk about the FF9 unit collaboration unit and how much of an absolute fucking abysmal disappointment it has been. Now, normally, this wouldn't actually even merit a video for a series of upgrades of a returning collaboration, older units to be even worthy of a video. But I feel like last year the bar was set incredibly well with what could be done and how it could balance like older units still being good with the Final Fantasy Tactics recollaboration. And that, you know, you think of Agrius, who's still considered to be quite good. You think of a whole bunch of different units that have been upgraded properly. And I look at Final Fantasy IX as one of the worst I've ever seen. And it isn't Kuja's fault. Kuja just happens to be really insanely good. As a matter of fact, it's pretty much now that decided that he is actually worth the hype. He is really, really good, and he has done a lot for gloves in a short period of time of pushing them probably towards a tier 1 team. That's pretty crazy. And the vision card does support that. And I'm not angry about that. But I am getting a little bit fucking frustrated with Wotv's strategy of bringing back old characters and putting them on a banner and saying, here, you like this character? Fuck you. Pay us money. We're not really going to upgrade them or actually make it worth it. So it's a little bit like buying something that's double costed in a store that's like 3 or 4 years old. And you're like, why am I doing this? Well, there's no other option out there. I guess I just kind of have to get fucked on this, right? Well, that's how it feels with these characters. And I think there needs to be a better solution, because this is just not good. And I can't imagine that it's good for business either. I don't have any actual data, and you know, Gumi's never going to actually provide that data of how well these do. It's basically just a thing of, hey, we've already made it, so fuck it, put it back out there. But getting units and getting the collaboration to come back is starting to feel closer, once again, being absolutely worth it. And I want to highlight it just very quickly. First off, Zidane. Zidane is an absolutely trash tier upgrade. I don't know what the fuck they were doing, but they must have thrown darts at a board that landed all on DPS and they figured that's good enough. But it isn't. It is so woefully underpowered compared to what Kuja is. And again, it probably would have been nice to keep them a hero and villain slightly matched. But again, who fucking cares at this point? It seems to be the design documents, because that's what we got. It is a woefully uninteresting and not even remotely matched to what Daggers are trying to do right now. So again, I wasn't expecting him to be better than Kuja, but I wasn't expecting him to be this far below. Garnet, hard to get angry about Garnet. She's a free-to-play character, essentially, and a perfectly fine one who got some decent upgrades. But again, if you want to talk about her now being a magic DPS compared to Kuja, no, it's not even worth it. It's not worth talking about anymore. Moving on. And then we have Vivi. Vivi is the one that probably had the highest chance, and from everything I've seen so far across multiple videos, it isn't. Vivi's 2-turn stun, which is the most powerful upgrade in this entire set, turns out to be pretty much worthless, because characters just have too much HP now, heal too much, and 2 turns, as it turns out, is not enough. Or Vivi's just general AI is not good enough to put him in the front to get those stuns in relatively quickly compared to other characters, and actually make some of the comps that he is in weaker than what they were before by either removing the healer or changing out X-Death or Shrekken, which is kind of disappointing, because you'd think with how powerful some status effects are, a 2-turn stun should be insanely powerful. But in a video I saw where basically O just stood there for 2 turns and got smacked around by mages for a bunch, and just kept on, and then ended up with full HP, Vivi also ends up being a disappointment. So yeah, that basically sums up the FF9 thing so far, the collaboration so far. And I don't think that there's going to be anything else over the course of this that's going to remotely do enough for these 3 old characters. So the reason that I'm going to do this is, once again, well, 1, wasting my breath and making content for my YouTube. But also, I guess 2, is providing at least some kind of a alternative to what could be done in the future. And I think the thing that needs to be done in the future is that when these characters are brought back, they need to be brought back in a different way. Now, a couple of suggestions that I've seen is lowering the cost of these units, and I actually fully agree with this. For one thing, it would make them more interesting to pull if, for instance, Vivi is not a 100 cost unit, but maybe a 60 cost unit, because you double the rates. These are old units that you're not even bothering to upgrade properly anyway. It can't be that hard to do, and I don't think it would be that bad as a balancing. Since, I mean, you can effectively choose what rules are, and if a 70 cost Vivi is going to absolutely bust the game open, well, then the game's probably not that good of a state anyway. But it would at least make people more interested in pulling and upgrading and spending resources and spending on the game, and making whales potentially have to do more. Isn't that kind of the goal? You want more revenue, but you bring these characters back exactly as they are, and they're just completely unappealing. And I have to believe that there is a possibility that, vision cards that these characters can be appealing, because if you look at vision cards from collaborations hold their value incredibly well. There has to be a better path for doing this than just bringing these characters back exactly as they are with some really underwhelming upgrades and saying, well, here you go. Oh, well, we didn't really get any sales off of it. I mean, all that time and energy was wasted on your part. Uninteresting for the rest. I have to make a video like this where I basically call you, Gumi, and your developer shit. Don't you think that there's something wrong in all of this? I definitely think there is. Maybe I'm the crazy one. But if you think about that, the other really, really wild idea that I have actually heard from people is, why not make them lower rarity units? Now, this is really, really far out there in terms of, this would be like a, we want to get goodwill from people, because putting them at an SSR level is basically like saying, well, yeah, we completely admit that these characters aren't that great anymore and whatnot. But I mean, you can always just limit them out of selection quests. I mean, I don't know why at this point. You might as well make selection quests more playable for generally newer players. And this is always the argument with Wotv of being like, why don't you just make things easier for new players to get into the game and catch caught up on stuff? Selection quest units suck anyway, but hey, it's something to do to keep them playing the game. It's just baffling how bad these collaborations can be brought back with. Especially when it felt like last year we were making such forward progress, where it was like, damn, FF5 is actually really fucking interesting. Tactics is really fucking... Holy shit, I actually have to make a video and say, wow, Thancred is actually got a series of good upgrades. It is totally possible. The team has done it, and they have completely missed the mark with FF9. So here's the thing. If you're going to do this, if you're really going to just be this uninterested in upgrading characters that much, make them lower rarity. You might as well. Or make them lower cost. Again, you might as well. You double the rates, you make it more interesting and more tempting for people to get their favorite characters. You also don't have to touch the vision cards, because that's perfectly fine. But there just has to be a better path forward. And I refuse to believe that there isn't some interest in making money, because that's all Gumi fucking cares about anymore, is making, steady income. Well, find a way to make better, steadier income. Make it more appealing for new players. And I'm going to leave on this idea for anybody who wants to say, Well, an SSR character, you're gonna make you're gonna make Zidane and Vivi an SSR tier character, and Garnet? Yeah, I really am. For one specific, for an example of the past, trying to get an SSR character can be more miserable than trying to get a UR character. And there's actually been more than a few times that I've seen that with streamers who have since left the game. Anyway, that's all for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. And if you have some ideas of how this could have been done better, leave it in the comment section below. Who knows? Maybe a shooting star will go across the sky and some goomy person will accidentally be reading through this comment section and will pick up on a good idea. And, at the same time, they'll probably suffer some kind of a stroke and, lose some of their cognitive faculties. Not that I wish that upon anyone, but will then think, something will just magically happen and they'll think that, be like, yeah, we should actually do this because that feels completely magical. Later.